Ok, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Habs podcast, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the trade deadline part two video. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and let's get to it.
So the first trade for part two is a big trade involving Toronto and Boston. So Toronto get Brandon Carlo, a reliable top four defenseman from this divisional rival, for Fraser Minton, who's actually their second best prospect, a 2025 fourth round pick, and a conditional 2026 first round pick who is top 10 protected. What are your thoughts on this trade?
I mean, I feel like as the time was going at the deadline, like you were starting to get worried for Toronto. It felt like they were not going to do any moves, but finally they got Carlo, really good top four defenseman, and I feel like they really need a type of guy that is going to uh, need a top four defenseman in the playoff. They for sure needed that, and I think that's a good deal for Toronto. And as Carlo also said, he said it was weird because he was going to a rival team, but I feel like it's all going to be okay in the locker room, even though they were rivals. I think it's a good deal for Toronto, in my opinion, and also, yeah,
In my opinion, I agree with you that it's a good deal for Toronto, and I also think the Scott Laughton deal was good. But it's just like I think Toronto. The question it comes down to the core four. You know, like you're gonna play against big teams. You're gonna play
mm,
against Tampa Bay. You're gonna play against Florida. But if this core four figures it out, finally, this team can actually. I wouldn't be surprised if they do some damage. But if they don't perform, then it won't matter if they added Carlo and all that stuff. So for
yeah,
me, no matter what those moves are, it's just they rely on the core four right now. But for Boston, it's again like we said earlier, like they're selling, and it's an okay return. I mean, they got Fraser Minton. He's like the second best Toronto prospect, and they got a 2026 first round pick. I mean, I'd say this deal is a little bit better for Boston than the Marshall one, but yeah, it's a new era,
yeah,
And for me, I would
yeah.
use.
It's crazy. Like, yeah, it's crazy. Like, who would have thought in 2025 Boston will be selling?
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. But no, if I was Boston, I'd start retooling and I'd use Fraser Minton and that first round pick as potential trade pieces for off-season trades. So yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways, let's move on to another big trade between the New York Islanders and the Colorado Avalanche. So Colorado also, well, Colorado was the most active team, since the beginning
yeah,
of this
by
season
far, yeah,
in
yeah,
terms of trade.
for
And
sure.
the trade we're going to talk about particularly is that Brock Nelson is going to Colorado for with William Dufour, a 23-year-old, against Caleb Ritchie, who is the best Colorado Avalanche prospect, Oliver Shillington, who the Islanders, by the way, immediately traded for future consideration, a 2026 conditional first round pick, and a conditional 2028 third round pick. What are your thoughts on this trade, and what are your thoughts on the Avalanche in general?
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's gonna fit well Brock Nelson on that team. I feel like they're a fast team, and like Nelson plays like a turtle,
Mm,
and like yeah, that dude is kind of slow in my opinion. Like uh, and like yeah, and I think like they did so many changes that's not gonna play well in the chemistry wise. Hopefully they can all click in the playoffs, but I don't know, man. They kind of crashed out.
yeah, like so, like so many people said that, like, the Avalanche cooked. Like they got so many good players, they improved their team, they made insane trades. But in my opinion, they actually didn't. Like in my opinion, like this team changed way too much. And like you said, I think they're going to have chemistry issues. I also do think like the defense is far from perfect. For me, this is not the 2022 Colorado team who won the Stanley Cup. There has been too many changes since then, and this is why I wouldn't say they're like the top contender right now. I'm worried, like I said, about their defense. And this is not the same trade, but they also traded Casey Middlestat for Charlie Coyle, and they also traded a second that deal. I don't understand this trade like at all from Colorado. Like it's so insane. I think this was actually the worst trade for the trade deadline. It's like we can like make fun of Boston and enjoy their downfall, but it was a great trade for them. But to come back to this trade, I think Brian Nelson is like is a good player, is a good goal scorer, but I'm not sure if he's going to exactly fit well on that team. But
Yeah,
yes, and for the Islanders, I just want to say something for the Islanders. Like, I'm sorry. So Lou Lamoriello, okay, the Islanders GM, tried to extend Nelson, okay, for three
Yeah,
years and 7.5 million, okay? And Nelson didn't even accept it. He didn't even
yeah, that's
accept all
crazy.
that money. It's crazy. So this deal is so much better than giving the Nelson extension I was just talking about, and it's insane to me. Like the fact that Nelson
Yeah,
rejected that offer, that speaks
yeah,
volume about how much he believes in the Islanders, and how much he doesn't believe in the Islanders. So I think this is a good return. They can either make those prospects grow or use them as trade assets. And for Colorado, like I said, we
yeah.
already talked.
Islanders for sure won that trade.
Yeah. So now let's move on to a trade Edmonton made with San Jose. So Edmonton, this was basically their only move, all right, at this trade deadline. Jake Walman, the San Jose Sharks defenseman, for Carl Berglund and a conditional 2026 first round picks. What are your thoughts on this trade?
Bro, like, what are they doing? It's like, didn't they learn when they gave Kulak and gave us a second and we drafted Lane Hudson? Like, they gave a first for Jake Walman? Are you serious?
Yeah, and like talk about that deal for San Jose. I mean,
What does this dude like? What is like? I genuinely want to know what does this dude do on the ice? What he's gonna help with? Do hit the gritty one with a one OT winner in his career? Like what he's gonna do? Like I honestly don't know.
yeah, I
He's
just
not
want to
even a
say
shutdown. He's not even a shutdown demon. Like what?
I'm sorry, what is Stan Bowman, the Oilers GM, doing? I don't even get it because this Edmonton team needs shutdown demons. They need a top four shutdown demon, and they just signed John Klimberg, who's an offensive demon who can defend. Their number one defenseman is Evan Bouchard, who's good offensively but can defend. So why do you add another offensive defenseman who can defend? Like, what are you doing? And like, I keep saying to everyone, like,
And he
oh,
paid at first. He paid at first. He
yeah,
should have.
and like I keep saying to everyone, like, oh, like the Oilers, like everyone is overreacting on the goaltending situation. They made the final last year with Skinner and Ned, but I mean, at this point, if they keep getting those offensive defensemen, I mean, can they even rely on Skinner then? Like the entire
Yeah,
like
in
the
my
reason they made the final was
yeah.
the defense, like carrying Skinner, but will they be able to do so this year? Like what? Like what is this?
If they really wanted to pay a first to get a demon, they should have called Montreal and get David Sava.
Yeah, or like
Like
even Carlo. Like, why didn't they do the Carlo
yeah,
trade? I
yeah,
just I don't get it. But I just want before we move on, like to the win loser trade, like, I do want to like say how much San Jose did good asset management because they got Jake Walman with a second round pick for Detroit, not for a second, with a second, just like Montreal did for Monahan, and then they trade him and they get a first. So great asset management for them, that team, and I think they
yeah,
have a bright future.
yeah.
And anyways, we
Completely
have
agree with you.
a little bit less than 10 minutes left, like around 7 minutes. So let's discuss about the winners and losers of this trade deadline. Um, so I want you to give me like the fast like just think about like two three winners and two three losers.
Ooh, okay. So should we start with um losers?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so losers in my opinion was ooh I want to say Edmonton, one of them.
Oh yeah.
You know, they really didn't get like what they needed in my opinion. Like we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Second loser, um I gotta go with Colorado with that Nelson trade. Um I know they were active this trade deadline, but I feel like they're kind of a losers because like they
No,
might have messed up the chemistry there.
no, I understand your point.
Um,
Honestly, like this, like it might be a
and
hot take what we're saying, but just like our
yeah,
perspective.
and third loser, I want to say Buffalo. Like you
Oh yeah.
gave up Dylan, you no, yeah, Buffalo for sure. What about you? Who are your three losers?
I just want to say like I have two losers we didn't talk a lot about. So the Vancouver Canucks.
Oh,
Like
yeah, I
what?
forgot to talk
Like
about that.
what? Like they didn't even trade Besser, so they're keeping Besser even though he won't resign. He
Yeah,
doesn't
man,
have
you
an
just saved
extension
the
in place.
podcast.
I don't get it. Like why? Like they better extend him, else it doesn't make any sense. But Also, there's the New Jersey Devils. They didn't do anything. They had the LTIR cap of Jack Hughes with his injury, right? And
Yeah.
the only trade they did was Dumoulin. Like what? Like
Mm.
it's crazy. Like Dumoulin is gonna be a nice third pair, and they extend Kovacevic 5 years, 4 million. But what did that team do? They had so much cap space, so much opportunity to do something special. The people were saying they were after Rantanen, they were after Braden Shan, after that, and they didn't do anything. So, like I said,
Yep.
Vancouver and New Jersey, and then after I agree with you, I'd say Edmonton is a big loser, and I'd also in the industrial line, and I'd say Buffalo, like you said. I'm trying to think.
Who are your winners?
Okay, the winners. Oh, okay. So my first winner for me, I'm trying to think. Honestly,
Yeah,
if the core
it's
four
tough.
does well in the playoff, it might be Toronto. If they don't, then no, it doesn't matter. But if they do, it's a good trade line for them. The four,
Yeah.
the Panthers. I mean, obviously, like they got Seth Jones, they got Match Kachuk, Match Kachuk. I'm sorry,
Martian.
they got Brad Marchand, and they got Nico Sturm, a good four line center too. I think they legit cooked because like they stay competitive, I think another winner is Tampa Bay. They got Yanni Gord, they got Oliver Bjorstrand. We can say they overpaid or whatever, but in the short term, I think it was a great trade line for them, and I do think they're one of the top contenders. So the all Atlantic Division teams, like the top three Atlantic Division teams, I think they all cooked. Um, Dallas, my God, how did I forget Dallas? For sure, a clear winner. They're going all in. Maybe they're going to be cooked in the future. With the big antenna extension, like you said. I don't think that's the main problem, but like, I think they have a lot of pending free agents and a lot of old players. And I think though it's a good year to go all in for the Stars. What about you? What are your winners?
Yeah, I think obviously Florida's like a clear winner in my opinion. Um, you know what? Like this might surprise, but like Ottawa,
Oh
like I
yeah.
wasn't expecting them to get a second line
Oh
center
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to help them in the playoff push. Like I think to trade an injury prone like Josh Norris to get a guy like Dylan Cousins and getting a second round pick and not even paying a first, I think they're a winner.
Yeah, and the only reason I
Um,
didn't put Ottawa in the winners was really just like the Fabian Zetterlund trade because like they paid like Chuck and a second round pick for him. But no, I agree. Like still, like they
yeah,
clearly improved their team a lot, and clearly
yeah.
they're for me a playoff candidate.
Yeah, and like you said, if Toronto core force perform, like they got what they needed. They got a top four shutdown D.
Exactly. Now there's no excuse for the core four. Like that's basically it.
Yeah,
If they can't get
and
out of the second round, okay, if they can't get out of the second round this year, I think it's time
yeah,
to just blow up that core because it's clearly the problem because now they have all the depth in the world and
yeah, that
goaltending.
is true.
So now this is really like we say that every but this really like if they don't get it done this year for me, like you gotta blow it. You gotta blow it.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
just Hmm?
and yeah, and they didn't even extend Marner. I think right.
Oh yeah, yeah. So they're really going all in and they didn't extend
Yeah,
Tavares either. So but yeah,
yeah.
we still have
So
2 minutes left. So I just want to ask you a quick question about two big teams we didn't talk about. So those teams being Washington and Winnipeg. Those two teams did necessarily make the biggest move, but sometimes that doesn't matter. Like Vegas, for example, in
yeah,
2023, that was one of the rare deals they didn't get a big player. They only got Barbashev, and he filled a good role. What do you think about the trade line for Washington and Winnipeg? Like Winnipeg added Brendan Tanev and Luke Shen, while Washington added Anthony Beauvillier.
yeah. I mean, sometimes it's not the big moves that makes a difference. You
Mhm.
know, you make it, you keep it simple. You didn't overpay. You didn't lose anybody, and you just believe in the team you have right now, and you think you got something special going. You don't want to mess up the chemistry, the
Mhm.
locker room, and you just keep it going. I think that's perfectly fine in my opinion.
Yes. I think like Washington, like the Beauvillier trade, I don't know. I'm not a big fan because like a second round pick for him is kind of crazy, but it's still much better than nothing. Still much better than nothing
Yeah.
because Beauvillier has proved he can perform in the playoffs and with the Islanders. Remember his Game 6 OT winner.
Oh yeah.
For the Jets, like I still have like 30 seconds. I just want to say quick for the Jets. I don't really like the Luke Shen trade. I think he's overrated and they pay a bit too much. And I don't like the Tanev deal either. But I mean, like I said, it's better than nothing. And sometimes, like I said, it's not the big moves.
Yeah, so thank you guys for watching to today's episode. Thank you so much for being back and showing love and support, guys. We're so sorry we wouldn't have been inactive, but we're gonna be active. And yeah,
Yeah, thank you.